As for those liberal Hollywood leftists in need of a lobotomy, like Rosie O'Donnell, they are straight up communists. Rosie supports imposing martial law, delaying the inauguration until Trump is cleared of all charges. Rosie, I know you. I don't have a problem with you. But martial law? Are you nuts? Rosie, since when are you the bastion of brilliant behavior? Why don't you put on your big girl pants and come to grips with the fact that Donald Trump is your next president and you're either with America or against America? That was my opening statement that went viral months ago, blasting Rosie O'Donnell for her hatred toward the Trump family. Developing tonight, new outrage over Rosie O'Donnell's tweet promoting a sick game about pushing President Trump off a cliff. She is, of course, not the first Hollywood liberal to talk about violence in reference to the president. So how far will liberal Hollywood's hate for this president and his family go? Joining me now with a reaction, the former national director for Bernie Sanders, Jeanine Pirro. All right. Good evening, Jeanine. Thanks so much for being with us. All right. So now Rosie O'Donnell, who can't stop with her hatred for the president, comes out with, let's push him off a cliff. I mean, what do you say? You supported Bernie Sanders. What do you say to these leftist liberals?
Well, what I say is, it's obvious since Rosie O'Donnell's career went over a cliff several years ago. This is obviously another comic relief that she's looking forward to try out for Saturday Night Live. They have yet to book her after months and months of trying out. And at this point, she's going into a very dangerous zone by promoting violence with the president of the United States. I'm a veteran, and so whether I disagree with President Trump or not, I didn't like it when they did it with Barack Obama when I was a former Democrat, and it's not acceptable now. He is still our president of the United States. And so promoting in this volatile, emotional time, as we can see with Congressman Scalia, this is not the time to promote, any type of violence against the president of the United States that will cause a mourning of us all if he were to be injured.
The interesting thing is that they would allege that in spite of, as outrageous as this is, that they have a First Amendment right to say what it is they want. And at the same time, they are trying to suppress the First Amendment free speech rights of those on the right, saying that they shouldn't be allowed to speak. I mean, besides promoting violence, these people are hypocrites.
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's beyond just a First Amendment right. When you have access to millions of people that follow you on Twitter, millions of people that engage with you, there's something called responsibility as well. We have to have it within the communications field, which I do full time, and we also have to have it as politicians, media, and so forth. So when you do things like what we saw with Kathy Griffin that did with chopping off the president's head, there's a thin line between First Amendment and responsibility. And so she's doing this as a comic relief to get a tryout that they have yet to book her on. And so now it's time for her to either challenge his policies and to take the personality out of it. If she doesn't like President Trump and his policies, then do that. Talk about the fiscal cliff instead of throwing someone off the cliff. But I guess that would engage a conversation that perhaps she's not prepared for.
Well, but the crazy part of all this is you've got Madonna and you've got Kathy Griffin, as you said, and then you've got Shakespeare in the Park. I mean, this is normalizing violence, and it's almost as though in spite of what just happened with Congressman Scalia, you would think that at this point they'd say, you know what, we've got a congressman shot looking just to kill Republicans, not Democrats. Maybe there ought to be some silencing of the left.
Well, again, when people are continuing to promote it and looking to revive, their careers, Madonna living in a material world, I am a material girl, perhaps she should focus on the economy and talk about maybe getting some material, put into the hands of the workers who currently don't have jobs in America. So this is just yet another distraction, Judge, to not keep us focused on the issues that really matter. And it's not a game. This is real life. And so I urge all of those who have any type of influence to get America focus on back what's important, but obviously that would be the economy, and no one wants to talk about the economy.
But the amazing part of it is, Jeanine, that you'll get hundreds of thousands of people who will march. They don't even know what they're angry about. I was in D.C. on January 21st. I mean, when I was interviewing him, what are you upset about? What has he done? The hate by the party that alleges that it is, you know, the big umbrella and the tolerance for everyone is turning out to be the most, you know, hateful party that we've seen in terms of their promoting violence and hatred toward the right and the president.
No, I agree, and that's what makes this very different than what we've seen before in the past.
Yeah.
You know, we're seeing the violence, we're seeing it happen, and so people have to be very critical and pay attention to what it is they're saying and they're promoting, and understand there is something called mental illness. You know, where people are actually seeing this, you know, things on TV and games,
Thanks,
you know, and can bring that to real life.
All right, got a hard break, but I like the mental illness part. Jeanine Pirro, thanks so much for being with us. We'll be right back.